south of Scruffy.
Guys, we did it.
Okay.
I'm sorry about last night. The
Tyler's
scheduling mix-up. Sorry.
It's all right.
We're here.
It turned into like a good night with friends.
It did, actually. Yeah.
Got to finally get up here.
None of you guys live in Knoxville, right?
I do.
You do? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Holly.
Yes.
Cool. You're here. Zach, Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
Where?
Lake Charles. It's like southwest Louisiana.
Where?
Like I can be in Texas in like 30 minutes.
Okay. Teague, you in the Tri-Cities?
I'm in Tri-Cities. I'm in Kingsport.
Okay. Cool. Zach, you're from Kingsport, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that how you guys met?
College.
So Zach and I have been best friends since high school.
Okay.
We did high school theater together, and then Teague and I crossed paths in college, and I just forced him into being my best friend.
Where'd you guys go to high school?
Dobbins Bennett.
Dobbins Bennett.
Word.
Yeah.
Teague, what about college? Where was that?
We were at ETSU together.
Okay. All three of you went to ETSU? Okay. It's a college thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Dig it.
Friends from college.
So yeah. You told it last night. How did you guys become friends?
So we were at a party.
Yeah.
And we had been drinking a good bit, and I went to him and our other friend Hunter Roberts, and I just said, you know what? I think we gotta be best friends now.
Yeah.
And I was like, so here's how it's gonna work. Teague, we're gonna hang out Mondays and Wednesdays. Hunter, we're gonna work together on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we'll all kind of do like a weekend thing as a three.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And essentially, it's somewhere in that same night, you're like, also, we're going to get an apartment together. We're going to get an apartment together. Man, it's going to happen. And we really did. I ended up moving in with him, not long after that.
3 months later.
I was like, sure, stranger.
My
Like,
fastest moving relationship.
Yeah.
We moved in together after 3 months. Yeah.
So was the theater thing the kind of binding thing? Because all three of you guys have been involved in that? The acting, thespian world?
Yeah, and we just have always, I don't know, been like kind of ambitious about it. Like we didn't just do the things that were provided to us, but we made sure to make our own opportunities and possibilities.
Yeah.
Went out and made your own shit.
Yeah. Very true. I've always said that somehow I lucked into, we have a weird, just kind of extended family in this group of friends that kind of all went to college together, and everybody is always willing to jump in and work on each other's stuff and kind of always push each other forward. And I just got very lucky to have a lot of talented friends that kind of all want to get together and work on the same stuff. And yeah, we just kind of all gelled up, and we always are working on each other's stuff from then on up until now.
Was it always theater stuff, or did you guys start shooting film pretty early?
Actually, pretty early, because I kind of, because I'm a lot older than these children. But I came back. I left school and I came back, and that's when I met them. And
You're
done
73.
close, not far off. But I came back, and I was already kind of more interested in going into film, and I had started pursuing like stunt work instead of acting as much, and I wanted to be a fight choreographer. And so I had to have, the thing with fights is it's one person just beating themselves up is not very interesting. So I was like, Josh, what you doing this weekend? So
Can you take a punch?
Just beat the crap out of Josh for a long time in a lot of small films and like student projects, and it just kind of spiraled out from there.
So the Witch and the Warden, the sizzle and pilot that you guys have shot, there's some fight stuff in that I noticed.
Yeah.
Is that your stuff?
That's all his
Are you the
stuff.
fight captain?
Yes. Yeah.
Word.
Been doing stunt work for oh my god 6 or 7 years.
Nice.
No, longer than that probably now.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have enough like rearranged bones in your face for that.
I know.
You were already doing the fight stuff for Dracula my freshman year of college.
Yeah, that's right. So it'd be
So,
longer than that.
So 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. It'd be over 10 years now. But yeah. So yeah, I put together all the fights for it, and kind of the short film originally was like, I've never done a sword fight on film. Let's do that. That's how this whole idea started, with that very low idea of like, I'll just put a sword fight together.
So you guys started with a sword fight and then wrote.
And then I ended up writing a lot more.
He's a world builder.
Yeah.
That's really a lot of it comes from that. He has the imagination and
Yeah, I mean, it started. I was
D&D, really.
Yeah, I mean, well, D&D, and then just coming from a writer family, and I started with like a really base concept. I just wanted to film a sword fight just to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, it's just boring. If it doesn't make sense, people just have swords. So I was like, oh, make some dialogue. And then you do that, and then you start getting into character. And I'm like, well, where did they come from? And it just all builds out, and then everything
World
just
builder. Yeah,
exactly
created.
And then
created an entire
and then one
world.
thing to explain like why this guy is this guy always turns into like so much more. And before I know it, there's cities and governments and blah blah blah. And this takes place in like the span of like a week, and then like I write his short film script, and I'm like, even while we were shooting it, honestly, I was talking about this the other day, even while we were shooting it, the character of Elsa, the witch from The Witch and the Warden, was a lot kind of more of a, she wasn't as fleshed out as she is now. And even while we're filming, I just immediately start adding more and more to her character and kind of just like building out the story of where she came from, and then it just progressed from there and just keeps growing.
So does the character grow as you guys are even in production on it?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I like writing. I think I'm very character driven writer. I think character more than plot drives a story, at least drives interest in a story. You know, you're always going to connect more with like a character like, I don't know, Snake Plissken off the top of my head. Random. That was a random poll.
Who's that?
A guy from Escape from New York. I don't know why that came to my mind. I'm not even that big a fan of that series. But anyway, but like Mal from Firefly or something like that, where you are going to connect with the character, and the stories and the plot going on behind them is not what you're connecting with. You're connecting with the Jon Snow, right? You're connecting with like the character that you want to see where their tale goes, where their story goes. So I always kind of write character first and then pull out to kind of expand on where you're going. And yeah, I mean, especially whenever I write, I like to include, if I can, the actors in the writing process, because I mentioned this earlier, it kind of gives them more of a natural voice, especially whenever we're actually filming it. Then it's these guys talking, like, you know what I mean? How we would have a conversation.
Yeah. So do you do table reads and then kind of go back to the script a little bit?
Yeah.
And then kind of put it in the the
I
actor's
love,
voice more so?
Yeah, I love table reads. Oh man, that's I've been very, very lucky to have a lot of like rehearsal time with people, and be able to kind of like hear how it's coming out, and even though like if Josh ad-libs a little or throws something into it, that informs more of the character than you think sometimes, and you're like, that's a good idea. That does make sense for especially when you're in the character like that.
Right. And not only the characters, but like the relationships that you can already have a little bit of a foundation for. We met at least once a week on Zoom, leading up to filming. Was
this to get character interactions? Was this to feel characters off each other?
And we also had people that we'd never worked with before. We had a girl from Cincinnati.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan came down, incredible, like an absolute pro. But, you know, we'd never worked with her before. So we had a couple of rehearsals with her. Scott, we'd never really worked with him. So the guy that plays kind of the Warden's adversary in this, Scott Thomas, when we had him in for an audition, we read together, and we sat and we were looking at each other for like 3 minutes, and he was a detective on one of the like Discovery ID shows.
Yeah, so you guys had worked together before?
We had worked together.
Oh,
he had grilled me as a suspect. I was a suspect that episode, and he grilled me as a detective, and it was like 3 reads in, we were like, that murder comes to town. That's how we know each other. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, we had a chance to get that juice flowing a little bit with him, so it wasn't so cold on the day.
So what's the show about? Witch and the Warden, right? Who's the one to tackle that?
Oh boy. Okay. Do we? Well, okay. So the show on the base level is about a character named Elsa Blackbriar, and she has been accused of witchcraft from a lord of the Imperium.
She's the witch.
She's the witch.
Okay.
And so Warden Hollis is hired to...
The Warden,
yes.
I'm the Warden.
Yes. Warden Hollis is hired to, bring her back to trial. And in their kind of meeting, they survive some dangerous encounter, and they decide, Hollis kind of comes along with the idea of that he will help her escape in lieu of a reward kind of on down the road. Elsa has started tapping into this kind of a magic ability she doesn't really quite understand. And so it's kind of the two of them on the run from the law together to try and outrun this kind of corrupt lord and figure out the secrets behind Alsa's abilities.
So adversaries come together.
Mm-hmm.
They become allies.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're on the run.
So the show, and the kind of deeper thing behind the show that I always tell everybody, this is really kind of my love letter to family, both family that you're born into and the families that you inherit, like through life. Like, these boys are my brothers. I love them like brothers. They're brothers. Yeah. And I've been very lucky to kind of build a family outside of my own blood relatives, like around myself, that really feels like a community and a family.
And that's saying a lot, because his family's awesome.
My family's great. Yeah, don't misunderstand that. My family's
like,
amazing.
It's so funny. He comes from like a very rural background, farm life, a rifle champion.
I was not a champion.
You were fourth in the state.
I was fourth in the state.
That's champion level marksmanship in my book.
That's such a weird point.
Yeah, I know a lot about you. So, his mom is this like incredible poet, and his dad is a farmer. I mean, to the bone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you're out there writing fantasy.
Yes. And we filmed this pilot on their land, and his dad was part of the crew.
Really?
His dad was shuttling people on a four-wheeler, and, I mean, just the pride that he has in his property, like for him to see something outside of why he has spent his whole life attaining it, to see his son use it in such a different way that means so much. It was cool to see that.
Yeah. Dad loves showing the farm off to everybody.
I bet.
Got 200 acres up in Virginia, and he's very proud of it.
So that's where you guys shot the pilot?
We shot some of the pilot there. We shot there, and we shot in Abingdon. Yeah. So just
where's your
kind of
parents'
around the
farm?
area. It's in Fort Blackmore, Virginia.
Where's that?
And that's all Gary Mack would like you to know.
Yes.
Much information.
None of your business. It's kind of past Gate City, Virginia. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Okay. Not too far, though, right? A couple hours from Knoxville?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
adjacent to Kingsport.
Yeah, we're right next to each other.
Yeah, gotcha. So, what's the message of The Witch and the Warden? That's the question that comes to mind when I watch it, because I'm intrigued by the little bit that I've seen.
I think you touched on it a little bit.
A little bit. It's a very kind of, and it's the overall themes that I want to get across with the show. And it's funny because it's all just cyclical. It all runs back on itself, because it's the purpose of a lot of the reasons I want to make the show is connection. We find connections a lot harder to come by, I feel like, these days, and this is a show about connections and about how, like, people from very, very different backgrounds. Alsa and Hollis have very, very different backstories, but they find a common kind of bond and connection that, we've all had. Like, I couldn't be more different than Josh. We have completely different, like, life stories, but, we immediately bond and connected, whether I knew him and then 3 days later I lived with him. It's weird, but it happens. And so it's kind of a show about when you find like-minded people and, like, building a community around the people that you care about, regardless of where you come from, right? So, yeah.
Dig it. Zach.
Yes, sir.
What's your role in all this?
So I'm the producer of the show. I quarantine brought some interesting things along, and one of those happened to be just this restlessness that I had, and I was writing a bunch too during quarantine, and I got to the point where I was like, yeah, this is fun and all, but I want to see it all the way through. I gotta, because I missed it. I hadn't done it in a while, and I just wanted to see that finished product, and so we got with another friend of ours. He was our technical producer on all of it, Ryan Shipley, and was just like, hey, man, if I can get down there, can we shoot something? And he was like, yeah, I've actually wanted to do like some producing stuff myself. So I was like, all right, let's do it as legitimate as possible, because I'm not waiting to start going after this now. Yeah. That's kind of one of the things it brought on. And so then we, like, I mean, a year's time, look where we're at. But yeah,
I know.
In like no time, we actually started with this wrestling mockumentary that I still think is a fantastic idea.
I read that script.
Oh yes, you did. You did.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome idea.
I think
hope
so too.
I hope we bring it, like, come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then we jump to this, and I'm a little bit of an impatient person. Maybe that's why I was like, yeah, I'll be the producer on this. But I came to Teague, and a few of our friends, we sat around, was like, here's just ideas we got. And The Witch and the Warden, we had already shot that short film for it. So it was like, well, it's got a little bit of traction. And then Teague was like, I already have so much of it fleshed out so I was like, can we do a pilot? Can you get the pilot script done in a week? And he's like, yeah. In like a week, he had it done, and we were ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I've worked with you. You've acted in some stuff that I've directed before, a couple different things. Yeah. You're great to work with, by the way. Both a great actor to work with, but very good at your craft. I tell so
many people, like, you're one of the best directors.
Well, thanks, man.
Seriously.
I appreciate it. Is it hard for you to take a step out of that world and kind of watch it all from the back of the camera?
Yes,
it is.
Sometimes, yeah. To answer that honestly, absolutely. Like I think I told you when because we had I think the hardest person to cast was Warden Quillen, and I was like, man, if I was taller, I was like, I would do that, because like, I feel like that role I could have just stepped in and went for it.
Just to clarify, Warden Quillen is like Warden Hollis, the Warden.
Yeah.
It's his like main adversary.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
The one Scott plays.
Is he the one they're running from?
He's one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
He kind of abandons his oath and goes off to help Alsa. Warden's
Hollis.
Hollis is kind of Hollis and Quillen are basically state-funded bounty hunters, kind of. So whenever he kind of abandons his position, Quillen steps in and is ready to take them both out for a bounty. Yeah. So,
sounds like you get a lot of your inspiration from space westerns.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, yeah, big time. I've always brought up with this show is that I want to harken back to like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Firefly, Xena, shows I grew up on. I really miss that kind of weekly serial, you know. That kind of older, like I guess the one I grew up in the 90s and stuff like that kind of adventure story that has like an overall driving story, but then sometimes just cool episodes and cool characters doing cool stuff. I do want to harken back to one thing. He's underselling how much he made this thing happen.
Zach is?
Yes, very much so. I made the short, and I was gonna go.
This could be a book. I was gonna write a book.
I was just like, I'll just make it a book. And Zach was like he said, basically, when Zach gets bored, Zach begins a year-long campaign to make a television show. That's what he does. It's not just like, oh man, I should take up knitting. Like, no, he decides to like produce a full-on television show. And this definitely, without his effort, would not have happened. I was moving on. I wasn't really pursuing this as an idea like that. And Zach's the one that pulled everybody together. Like, no, we have the talent. We can do this. Let's make this thing happen. Let's not sit on this.
Yeah.
And
he's the connector.
Absolutely.
That's his superpower.
100%.
Well, that, and then Ashley King, she plays also Blackbriar, the witch. She connected us to an incredible production team.
Yeah.
So Ashley and I both worked at the Barter Theater. She did costumes there and was still, they would bring her in anytime she could come in, really. And, that it could work out that way. So she still had all of these close connections to people at Barter. Truly like tops in their craft and in this field. So our costumes from the short to the pilot just grew leaps and bounds.
Oh my gosh, the
set, I mean, it was an empty barn.
Yeah.
It was an empty barn with nothing in it, and they turned it into an old-timey tavern. And walking on, like, they mulched the floor. Like, I mean, it was.
That was actually my idea, though.
It was nuts.
Well, because I was like, we're not going to have a concrete floor.
Give them a damn minute of appreciation before you come in. But me. But no, great idea to mulch the floor. Anyways, back to these incredible people that made this look, though. The aesthetic feel only built the world up that much more.
Really?
It was.
I will say that the most like wow I got on this this thing was when we walked into the tavern and I saw that the work that Megan had done, Megan and Molly had put together, and the costumes that Lee had and everything, and hair and makeup was incredible too. Just seeing like something that's in your head is just like kind of a fun idea. Literally, people are now walking around in like your imagination is unbelievable, and they genuinely pulled that off, and it was genuinely emotional. It was they completely changed like what this was starting out to be. Like the production level going up like it did was incredible.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the collaboration of it, right? I mean, the story gets told so many times. It gets told when you write it. It gets told when somebody art directs it, styles the scene. It gets told when someone costume directs it. It gets told when the actors do it. It gets told when the editors cut it. So there's all of this space for creativity and interpretation to happen. And if you are the one who conceives of it, it is like planting a little seed that grows into a farm.
And so many, it's so, my favorite part of doing any of this has been just collaborating with people that, like we never would have been able probably to usually get like our art department that we had on this to pull it off. But
it actually worked at a perfect
amazing
time. Like, because they were like either furloughed or what have you. And they were all
dying to create. I mean, and that's really what, you know, if you ask me, my biggest takeaway from this whole thing, it's what a group of people in a pandemic that are just hungry for creation. It's a testament to what you can do with starting with nothing. We had nothing but ideas, and then that same year we had a full-fledged production, grip trucks, lighting, costume, a makeup trailer. Like, I mean, it was bigger than anything we'd ever done, and it came strictly out of people just needing an outlet for this passion and talent that they have.
So without the pandemic, this doesn't happen?
I want to say
I don't know. I don't know.
I want to say that it wouldn't have happened in a normal year.
Really?
I couldn't have put as much time into it if I hadn't been laid off.
It's probably true. I mean, and we definitely probably wouldn't have gotten the art department like we said. I mean, my plan was pretty firm for the year. What I was doing,
I was gonna write a book,
you know, and Zach wouldn't have been bored, so we wouldn't have like David like
he'd been planning parties in Louisiana.
So Teague, was this gonna be a book?
That was the plan. I've been moving into, like you said, my mom's an author. She's a novelist and a poet, and so I really, because I can't just like do a little thing. I had already grown out the whole world of The Witch and the Warden, and I was like, you know, I kind of want to write a book, and so I was looking into publishing and figuring out how that world was going to work, and literally, I think I was getting ready to start putting everything into like a first draft in like March, like 1st of March of 2020. Yep, and then a couple weeks later, and I was like, welp. Okay, now I'm going to have to worry about, you know, am I going to have a job? Like the usual, what everybody went through right around the first of that part of the whole pandemic.
It's interesting, you know, to hear you guys pretty much agree that this thing would have been something way different and maybe not have happened had the pandemic not happened.
Absolutely.
I mean, your trajectory was going a different direction altogether. And I think that there's just this like arc in people's effort and this arc in people's creativity that or this kind of misdirection that happened when the pandemic started, and it created this whole kind of alternate path of things that would have been something way different or would not have happened at all because people would have been carrying on as usual. It's almost like somebody stepped on a tree when it was, you know, this tall, and then it just, you know, started to grow another direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that it's a weird thing because I've said this before. It was really, I understand it was a very difficult year for a lot of people, and a lot of people went through a lot, and then I had a kind of an amazing year in terms of meeting so many creative and amazing people like that. It was a very weird blessing. You know what I mean? It was difficult, but it also was like, look at what we're doing. Then at the same time, it's a weird kind of year to go through where it was ups and downs, right? Yeah.
Well, I think it's just we refused. I mean, I don't want to seem insensitive. Because,
oh no.
I mean, this was a terrible year for so many families, and thank God my family wasn't affected. But you know, we refused to just have a bad year.
Yeah, kind of.
We said, you know, like, let's use this unfortunate situation as an opportunity to do this thing, and a lot of hours. When just
So how far along do you have the books? How far along do you have the story and the world in your head?
I have the first 10 episodes planned for the first season. First season's, I know where we go. It's all synopses, so it's not full scripts yet, but
we have a few scripts.
But if you give me, we've definitely got some that are farther along already than others.
So about a Firefly. You've got about a Firefly.
I've got about a Firefly.
Okay.
10 episodes, and then for the next 2 episodes, and this is a show that I weeble and wobble on of like a minimum of 3 seasons to tell the whole story. You could go longer, but I don't want to go supernatural long, go like 15 years too long.
Time travel.
Yeah. But like, I know the last episode.
Okay.
That's sitting in my desk.
Well, when they started Lost, which was a real phenomenon, you hear Damon Lindelof and the other guys talk about it, and they're like, we had the idea that these guys are stranded on an island, and at the end of the first season, they find a hatch.
Yep.
And that's all we knew.
Yeah. Which is kind of brilliant, though. It really is. Like, that's because that just leaves you room to, like, kind of play around and then connect those dots back together. But
yeah, it gives you a sandbox to play in.
It does. But I definitely am. I'm a very big planner, so I kind of plan ahead a lot in our story.
Well, what about, like, with Game of Thrones where they outran the books?
Yeah.
That was kind of a tough thing for me. Yep. And I guess as a novelist, do you ever worry that your words or the story that you told is going to be I don't want to say hijacked, but told by somebody else in a way that maybe is not something that you approve of or foster?
Yeah, we've talked about that some. I mean, and that's just one of those things that I definitely have plans for what I want to do, and I definitely want to stay connected to the show. If we make it into a series, then I want to be involved as much as I can be. Because I see the show and how it plays out, at least in my mind. I'd like to think better than anybody else. But I think that I've got a pretty good plan so far. Like, especially this first season, we're all very confident about. It's a good first season.
And it's also about working with people that you trust.
Yes.
That to jump back a little bit to speak on like Megan and Molly and Lee and Annie, Aaron. The thing, because of quarantine and stuff, and because we had never worked with him, we haven't even met him, there's a huge trust factor that comes into that. There was little time to necessarily converse and really get ideas, because I'm a very visual person too, and I like to be in at least more connected than just a Zoom screen or, hey, here's this file, whatever. But then that trust factor comes in, and I think you leaned on them pretty well, and they totally just absolutely delivered. And they just brought this really great, unique perspective.
Which one of you guys deals with the actors the most?
Like just like back and forth?
Performance-wise.
Performance-wise, probably me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to at least get with all the actors that we could, except we did fly in a stunt team from kind of everywhere, but they were old friends of mine from a live show I did in around the Baltimore area. And they're professionals though. They come in, they know what they're doing. Like, you don't have to really work on a lot of character with the stunt guys. They just roll in, or like, where do I fall down?
Triple backflip, bust my face. Got it.
Nothing that crazy, although they all could do it. They're much better stuntmen than I am. But like, I didn't work with them necessarily as much, but I tried to touch and like work with the character on everybody, because again, I feel like that's, if you connect with a character, even if it's like a character that's kind of we're breezing through, that's gonna make the show more, I don't know, real. You know what I mean? More relatable.
Yeah. So the actors that seemingly only have a line or just come in and out, how much do you involve them and inject the story into them?
I try as much as possible.
Really?
Yeah, if I can. I will say he's smiling because he knows, except for Josh's little brother.
Oh God.
Yeah.
do
So
you have a little guest star?
Yes.
Yeah.
We just needed a guy to be the tavern keep, and I was like, oh man, we didn't really think about that one. We'll have to throw somebody in there. What's Tyler doing? And Tyler's just a great kid, and was like, yeah, sure, I'll come up. I'll wear a silly hat. Nailed it. He stole every scene. he's in.
Really?
Because he's just so funny.
No lines.
It's no lines.
No, yeah.
He said, "Hey, people, like, sir," and like nothing, and just he's so funny, and just would improv these wild ideas out of nowhere, and like made me break behind the camera during shots that didn't have anything to do with him, and I'd ruin takes because he's doing weird stuff over here.
We're having like this whole standoff with Warden and Cullen. There's like serious stuff about to
some
unfold.
tensions building a little bit.
And Tyler is at the bar packing stuff up, getting everything in order and hiding because in
He
his
built a
mind
little fort.
this tavern keep has seen a rumble once or twice.
He knows what's coming.
And he's just like, not this again.
Like throughout the speech, he's just like,
oh,
It's a monologue. He takes a page to pack his shit and crawl under
Yeah,
the table.
and we're nowhere near him. It's not his coverage. He just starts like putting up walls of stuff, and like I'm watching him like, what is Tyler doing? I finally figure it out, and oh my, I just lose it. I'm like, are you building a fort around your bar? Yeah.
I mean, just
So smart,
awesome.
so funny.
And yeah, like it all feeds into this world. That's possible because of this. Like that works in this show.
Yeah.
Because of
the tone that's been
that
set.
the original tone that I feel like we're going for. That, you know, just as much as we're dealing with all of this heavy drama and, you know, all these mystical elements, it's still at the root of it like kind of a comedy.
I was going to ask that. How do you inject comedy into fantasy? Because it has to have it. Because otherwise it's too heavy.
One of the main things I said when we first started was I want Alsa and Hollis to become friends and it seem natural. And you're not friends with people that you don't think are funny. Like, who are you friends with that you're like, man, I love Boring Dave. Boring Dave is juice. Man, he hasn't spoken to me in 3 years. I can't wait to see that guy again.
The juice?
He's no. I said he's just.
I was like, man, I'm gonna start using that.
He's the juice. No, he's like.
The juice, baby.
It's like people are naturally funny to each other. We try and crack each other up every time we see each other.
Yeah.
We can't not like bother each other or anything like that.
That's a really good point. That's a good way to bring two characters
and
that
it doesn't happen enough when you watch Game of Thrones or you watch like these more serious kind of even like superhero shows like Marvel. Sometimes you're like, all you guys seem to do is hate each other because we at the audience laugh. But if these two characters don't like each other, why are they hanging out and working together at all? That's insane. No one would do that for very long.
that makes good sense.
I was like, from bottom top down, they have to at least think that the other one's funny, and we'll slowly kind of build that kind of camaraderie based out of that. So,
and with Ashley and I, it does come naturally.
Yeah,
really.
And, you know, the development of the characters, like our backstories they've evolved but not changed. But just how Ashley and we've worked together just as long. Ashley's been a part of this for as long as any of us have. And we've worked together for years, been scene partners plenty of times, and it's cool to come into a scene, one, fully trusting that they're going to bring it. They're prepared. They know what they're doing. So it's always this fun, like, after the first, like, cut, it's like, okay, that's what you're doing. You saw what I was doing. Okay, the next time we come in, and it's, like, kind of an amalgamous relationship between the two ideas that we just had, trying to both incorporate things that we were both doing.
Yeah.
And then by that third take, it's like, we found it. And it's I don't know.
Do you guys have trouble chasing takes? Like you get the best one on the third one. You're like, man, I think we finally got it. Let's see if we can take it to the next level.
I'm bad about. I always feel like my best take is not in my coverage.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I will, when the camera's not on me, like every now and then I can finally hit where I'm supposed to.
they never did the same take. It was the hardest thing in the world to edit. They both are just trying to mess with the other if it's not their coverage too, which is because we're all friends. And it's fantastic because then they give a lot of really great stuff. Then that's hilarious.
But that does cause some.
It's great.
It's difficult in the edit when you have different things happening during coverage. The back of somebody's head is doing something, their hands up, whatever it is.
See, it's never that been that dramatic. But what it'll be then is that they'll just ad lib basically to try and make each other laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm just dealing with two chuckleheads half the time, and it's a lot of fun. But it's also
tough to
kill
cut.
me. Oh, they just kill
sometimes.
me. Yeah.
Well, I will.
Yeah.
To our defense,
I know.
We get clean ones.
Oh,
But
yes,
then,
you do.
But then you'll put an idea in our head, like
Yeah, I can't say anything.
there's a point in the sizzle reel so this isn't, I guess, like any spoilers or anything like that. But I'm reading her arrest warrant basically, and the varying levels of frustration that you wanted me to play with, and like the lack of, I guess, empathy for the fact that she'll be dead if I were to turn her in, like the varying levels that you wanted on that was my favorite like run of takes that we took, because it went everywhere from like, maybe I should consider this, to like, haha, I hope you die. Like, you know, so it was that was a fun run. Yeah.
Teague, what is it about bounty hunters? They're in everything.
I know.
There's Boba Fett.
Yep.
Django, you know, was another good one. Jubal Early from Firefly too. Like, everybody seems to bring in a bounty hunter.
Bounty hunters, I feel like that's one of those, because it goes back to Kurosawa. It goes back to the lone wanderer hero, right? Like, we all kind of want to embody that guy because he's cool, right? And he strolls into town and like a tumbleweed crosses, and everyone's just like, "Oh, watch out for that guy." So it's a character I feel like everyone finds iconic.
It's an archetype.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and it's like this loner.
Yeah.
And it's this omnidirectionally loved loner. Everybody can love him for some reason,
Yeah.
it seems like.
And there's a little bit, well, yeah, I'll go in on it. So, especially with like Hollis, I'm a pretty lonery dude myself, so I get to put a lot of my own, I don't know, crabby old manness into Hollis.
Josh's character.
Yes, into Josh's character, that it just makes him kind of lovable and easy for me to write, because he's got a lot of, I can be very social, but I also can be very standoffish, and I liked giving him, our protagonist, a bit of a kind of sour edge.
It is a mix between me and you.
Like absolutely.
You know, like, I guess, like, as friends, you know, like, it's definitely, like, kind of a mix. But
when people watch the sizzle, are they laughing in the right places?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It means they're not laughing at you. They're laughing with you.
Honestly surprised about what things people catch. Everyone catches the hand grab. I love that.
Yeah.
That made me so happy. That was an ad lib with them, and she waves at people that are getting ready to probably murder them in a bar, and he just snaps her hand down. And I was so proud of that people are like, it's funny. Yeah, I'm glad people are picking up some of the comedy elements already.
Yeah, you got to be subtle with it because it is so serious. You don't want to pull people out of it completely.
right.
Not completely. Like, we still have some. Our humor ranges. We definitely have. We all have a kind of a wackier sense of humor sometimes too, but we try and like make it flow.
With this show, it's the building of tension, and then we just usually crash it with comedy.
Yes.
That's usually where the comedy comes in. It's like,
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Seems to read well. I mean, yeah, it's kind of our
it's a
style.
style?
Yeah, it's kind of our style.
And I mean, it's not at the climax. You know,
all the good stuff's already happened, and then now you're bringing it in for a crash landing.
We got to move to the next thing anyways. Why not button it?
Yeah.
Set the tone for what's coming next. You know.
Feel you. Zach, what's been the toughest part for you on this? Whether it's dealing with booking or finding the people to shoot it.
Well, this whole thing, I mean, it's been a learning curve for me, because this is something I want to continue to do, and producing TV and film is something that I want my career to be. But this was the first time that I really grabbed it by the reins and jumped into that role. So there was a lot of like, okay, well, I know we got to find money. All right, let's do like the logistics. All that stuff was, I would say, like I mentioned before, kind of an impatient person. So
you wanted this to happen yesterday,
right? Yeah. Which could be a good quality, but also
such a producer way to be.
But also, it was very stressful at times. I think when we were talking with Kristian and stuff,
Kristian Nairn,
we were of getting him to come down here and stuff, and it was like, okay, well, it seems
he's the dude from Game of Thrones. He's Hodor.
Yes,
Game of Thrones. You guys were getting him for the show.
Yeah. We pitched Lord Arendelle, which is like the main antagonist, to him. He really liked it. So
you had a role in the script and you pitched it to him.
We actually pitched him this, like, I was like,
My brother's role.
Yeah, his brother's
Really?
like super small, just like tab. Like
It was supposed to just be like, hey, like check this out.
Yeah, we got this guy in here, you know. And then his agent was just like, yeah, just talk to him about it, and he wants to know if you got a different role for him. We're like, yeah, hold on.
Of course we do.
Yeah, of course.
We knew this question was coming.
Yeah.
Let me write that real quick.
Yeah.
We fully anticipated.
He was there.
I mean, the character was there already. I mean, I needed the big bad lord that is pursuing Elsa for, you know, he hired her to bring a magical object back for him. He's kind of working on corrupting and like rising up in power amongst the nobility, and she basically runs off with it, and now he's having to try her off. And so it was there already. It was kind of later on in the story, and then when he brought Kristian into it, we just were like, well,
Yep.
we just sent him stuff we already had ready.
How'd you
Character
find him?
liked it.
Actually, Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, he's pretty, like, he has his agent information on there,
Yeah.
and
He wants to work.
yeah.
Is
and
he in Northern Ireland?
Yes, he's in Belfast.
Which they shot all of Game of Thrones in Northern Ireland?
A lot of it.
Most
Yeah.
of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was a local on that.
Mm-hmm. See, and that was really one of the issues, was just because of the COVID protocol and everything. It was, we would have to fly him in, and then his agent was like, well, now for him to be in it, he's got to quarantine for 14 days once he gets into the States. And I was like, okay, let's find
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they were like, and it has to be a 4-star hotel. I was like, okay, we can do this. 4-star hotel near the location.
Yeah. In
For 14 days, and I got the chamber to go
you
along
out.
with it. Yeah, and they have like a room that at the local resort there, Meadowview, and I knew they had the room, and I was like, hey, here's this opportunity. What can we do? And they were awesome. Stepped in. They were like, yeah, we'll cover it.
Dang, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Producer shit right there.
Well, it's stuff like that I think the hardest part was the things you don't foresee when you finally get these things set in place, and then all of a sudden it just like locations. The location we had, like, we were like, here's where it's at. They've already agreed to this. We're doing it. And we show up and we're like, it's not really great, but here's a great spot right here. Can we just move our rental to this spot? And they're like, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
That was a location thing? You were
Yeah.
trying to move your shot or move your...
We wanted to move. See, we were getting a barn or like cabin and we were actually going to do it in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And we were getting one of those old to do the tavern scene, something that like
Like a modular home that they would drop off?
no, like the historic cabins throughout the.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Like an Elkmont or something.
we filled all the paperwork and stuff out for this one, and when we finally got to go up there and look at it in person,
It wasn't
it was
gonna
just
work.
too small.
Really?
It was too small. It was smaller than what we had thought. So we were like, can we move it to this cabin? I don't know. They just got weirded out.
And then
by
that messed up the Kristian thing?
No, really with him, it was, like I said, we got enough resources to shoot the whole thing, and with him having to quarantine 14, 15.
Yeah, you'd have to put him up in the States for a month to shoot for a couple days.
And naturally,
A day for him, probably.
naturally, an agent is like, well, for him to do this for little to no pay and be booked or gone for more than 2 to 3 weeks,
Doesn't make
not
sense.
yeah,
feasible.
it doesn't make sense.
I
It's not
get it.
feasible.
At least you got in the door and started chatting.
Well,
man.
no, the good thing is, I mean, he likes what we got. So
And there you go.
yeah. And
Can
that,
you bring his character back?
Oh,
after
yeah.
the pilot?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we
I
did
would-
good about shooting around it, and
Oh, good.
Yeah, I would love to. I would still love to work with him. I think he'd be perfect for it. And
But Josh's brother's always there. If you need
Josh's
him.
brother is always
Yeah,
there. That's
maybe
good.
he'll get
I think
bumped
you know.
up
I
there.
think we ought to bring Tyler back as a reoccurring character.
Yeah.
Like I think that.
I think he moves from town to town.
I think he just-
opening
every
bars
tavern
that
he
we
goes
come and
in.
ruin.
Have you guys ever all three acted together in something?
Yes.
What have we all three been in? I don't remember. What have we all three been in?
We were in Pretty Girl together.
Oh God, you're all. Oh my God. Yeah.
We don't want to talk about that.
you know, like the first time you ever did a project. And you're like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Was it like a student
indie,
film?
Yeah, like indie film stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun.
You know, early stuff.
It's
but
I didn't know you
again,
were such a good actor, Josh. And when I saw the sizzle, I was like, man, he can be serious and he's also fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Well,
Subtly.
I appreciate that. No, I've been doing this for a long time now, and I love it. I love it more. I wish I got to do it a lot more. And honestly, again, this is like another. We just make the opportunities for ourselves, kind of. You know, like if we want to make a movie, if we want to act, if we want to do something, we lean on each other and we make it happen.
Well, what do y'all need to finish this out? What's the next step?
So currently we're actually running a Kickstarter. Because of our great design people and all the people that we have supporting us, the pitching materials that we had are top notch because of all the stuff he's got planned out. And like I said, the world builder, the fact that the content is so great and has so much behind it and already prepared. So what we did, we were able to hit the ground, and once we finally got the sizzle back, I was just pushing it out to people. Connections on LinkedIn, cold emails, stuff like that, just kind of reaching out just to get it somewhere, like a foot in the door, just anything.
Yeah.
And we caught some attention from people who are interested in it. They want to view it. One of those people I mentioned was Brandon Blake, who he's an entertainment lawyer, and we're actually hoping to work with him as we shop it around. And so right now we have a Kickstarter, a little bit to recoup some of the expenses that we got from the shooting the test pilot, and paying back the people who were just so gracious to step in and help us out. And then also a majority of those expenses are going to the shopping around and the expenses that come from that.
Representation
piece.
Is that the big part?
Mainly representation. Yep. It's expensive.
Yeah. So what does that look like? What's that person look like? What's that rep look like ideally for you guys?
Ideally somebody
he's like 5'9". He wears really slick threads.
Yeah. Are you thinking brown eyes?
Not too long hair, but like a little off to the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sweetest smile.
Yeah. For me, like, what we all want to do is stay a part of this.
Yes.
We want to work on the project. I mean, it'd be one thing to say we're asking money to make a quick cash grab and sell a script or something. I do not want to do that. That doesn't interest me.
What's your number?
Yeah, I know. It does.
We've talked about
it. I really, really want to. It's sending your baby off to school, man. Like I really want to be a part of this. I want to make this show, and it's not just, for my own gain. Like we want to transition into running and making the show here in Northeast Tennessee. Even we have all this beautiful landscape around. We think that there is a really great workforce of burgeoning filmmakers and people that want to make this kind of content, and we want to do it here. And we think that we're at a prime time to bring like our show and make it here and build up a small film industry in the area. Yeah, that'd be my dream.
That's probably the best point I think about all of this is jobs. Like, us selfishly, I guess you could say, just like we want it to be our career. So, I mean, this is an opportunity to say, hey, we still want to stay attached to it so that we can continue to do this, right? But then also providing jobs for people who are out of work right now. I mean, or people in this industry who, are not doing it right now. And like we found, are dying to get back into work and create. And this is another opportunity for that to happen.
You guys familiar with any of the legislation that's trying to go through with tax incentives for the state of Tennessee?
No, I don't know about the state of Tennessee.
You should check it out. Yeah. You should really check it out because it's looking a lot better
than
it was 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it's looking competitive. Ooh. And it looks like they're actually trying to get it to happen here, like it did in Georgia, Louisiana, North Carolina, all those states.
Well, that was when did we move to Nashville? So Zach and I lived in Nashville together for a while.
5 years, 6 years ago.
Yeah, Nashville was going to be Wilmington. It was going to be where
but the
film
tax
happened,
incentives
but
sucked.
it just never exactly. Like,
And
it
I
never
don't
I think
wanna-
Louisiana's like 40% or something crazy. Like
it
that.
was. I don't know if it is anymore, but
Yeah.
it was so good. Your money you were getting back if you brought a production in was really good. And I don't want to tell tales out of school, but I want to somewhat hypothesize what happened here. And the governor of our state for 8 years was Governor Bill Haslam. And his sister-in-law owned River Media. Okay?
We doing a little insider baseball.
Here we go. Let's.
I think it's pretty
all
common
right,
knowledge, right?
Let's hit the tee.
But she was quoted as saying it would not be good for us to have more stuff come here because it would be bad for her company. I've heard that. I don't know if it's true. That's what I heard. And so it could be a total coincidence that our state government was not incentivized to bring films here. I don't know. That's just stuff I've heard in the past. Could be true, could not be true.
Yeah.
Interesting though to think about.
Very interesting.
It's interesting to think about how
Yeah,
how small factors or very.
You're telling this to some passionate people.
But I'm asking you to look now.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
look,
that's amazing.
and look what you may see. I'll
And
send
that's-
you guys an article
Absolutely.
when we're done, and I think it'll make you guys excited about that,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
when you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about bringing people here.
Well, really, and that grows out of all the way back to what we said, where we kept discovering new people as we did this project. I just want to grow that. I want to keep the same people that were in our art department and grow our art department. I want to build out what we have already brought in on the show, because everybody loves the show so much that we're working on, and I just want to expand that family, man. I want to make this like an even bigger project and just as good as possible of a television show as we can make.
There's no shortage of people in East Tennessee
not
who
at
can
all.
make your show.
Exactly.
I promise you that.
I
And if
100%
there
agree.
is a shortage of it, Nashville and Atlanta are very close,
I know.
and there's
Right.
plenty of people
Yeah.
there who are almost as good as the people we've got here. Who can come up and help you out.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing about if the worst case scenario is that someone wants to give us money for this show and take it, we could parlay that into a number of other things.
Really?
That's still the
But-
plan. Yeah.
So you think
But-
you could? Go ahead.
This show is already more or less, I guess, barring any lack of knowledge that our group has, it's in its best hands right now.
With the three of you guys?
With the
Just us three.
Just us, only us.
No,
We did it all. Yeah.
Ashley King,
Yeah.
myself, Hunter Roberts,
Yeah.
like somebody that's overseen a lot of our script writing and was our contact with Jordan, to Lee and Molly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Straight to the top.
everybody. It's in the best hands right now. So could you take this show with all of the incredible material we've started and take it and build a show with it? Yeah. It's a wealth of content. You could figure out how to make 3 seasons with the amount of stuff that's put together right now. But it's not going to be the show that we make. It wouldn't be the special thing that it is right now, even in its infancy. It wouldn't be that in season 2. And that's why, with the right representation and the right, I guess, buyer that would take us as a family, more or less, like, that's in their best interest, because that's how they're going to get the best show.
Yeah.
I can't say enough.
Thank you
how
for
much
saying that.
I love every single person I'm working with right now. They're my
So it
best
belongs-
friends. It belongs with this family.
Yeah.
So,
And it belongs to all you guys. too.
Yeah.
It's not
100%.
It's not just the three of y'all.
Yeah.
It's the whole team.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's not a. Yeah, I stumbled there. I'm sorry, but yeah, they have to come along, pretty much. I mean, this show's about family,
I
and
think the first week when we after meeting Molly, we were like,
yeah, no,
straight to the top.
I'm not gonna do anything else without Molly, and she's probably
Yeah.
like about that, but she's coming along on everything. She's amazing. Megan, Lee, just Ashley, Hunter, the whole group. We work and can make things like this in a state of a pandemic with no money, no time. A lot of us doing some of this stuff for the first time we've done, especially on this scale, right? We're able to pull this off with the quality that we have because of this group of people. It's got a lot less to do with what I put on a page, man. It's got a lot to do with the people I was lucky enough to have around me. That's what made this happen.
So what do you think is the most important part of getting people to believe in the project?
That you're on. Boys, you answer that. I have no idea.
I mean, is it salesmanship? Is it passion? Is it what is it that people see in you that say,
Well,
I want to attach myself to this?
It is passion. Like because they see it in us, and just like a smile, I think a passion is probably one of the most infectious things, right? And whether that's good or bad, right? But I think they see what we want and just the passion and the drive behind it, and that inspires other people.
Yeah, I mean,
in some way.
It's a hard one for me to answer because I even talked about this the other day. It's still shocking to see people's reactions to this so far. Like people that have already donated to the Kickstarter, or people that see the trailer, people that have worked on this still and talk about how much they loved working on the project, how much they love the future of this project. It's really weird for me. It's just not... maybe it's a little imposter syndrome for me, or maybe it's a little, maybe it's a little my own lack of confidence sometimes, but you see people react to something that you dreamed up, and it's still kind of unbelievable to me sometimes. Even when it's like my best friends, like sometimes it's amazing how much they get into it. It's been really amazing.
Do you ever let it get into your head that you're asking people to help you and all you have to give them is passion?
Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Feel bad about not being able to pay people,
Oh,
or
God, dude,
not
yeah.
being able to put them up in a 4-star hotel or whatever it is.
I mean,
But
sure.
but the thing is, it's like we did a really good job at
Communicating on the front end.
Try to,
communicating
yeah.
And compensating as much as we possibly could for. I mean, we did still pay people.
Well, we could. Yeah, I don't like. I have a real weird hang up about should get paid for this. If you work in this and you want to be in this industry, you should ask to get paid, and you should get
100%.
paid something. I mean, when we're on the level that we're on, everybody has a bit of an understanding that we're trying to aim for something down the road, but try and show people what they're worth. You know what I mean?
Does it get in the way of the work when you feel like, oh man, I really wish I could pay that actor more, and I'm sitting here trying to tell them what to do or direct?
No, I mean, I know.
Do you feel that sometimes?
Sometimes I do. I mean, you can't help it, but I try.
You get the friend
Yeah.
end of the deal.
Yeah, you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy you a sandwich. No, like
You bought me a drink last night. That was real sweet. We're square.
that rare one beer. Yeah, no, Yeah, I mean, you can't help it. It bothers me, but I mean, I don't know. Then when you're in it, it didn't feel that way while we were doing this.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I definitely didn't.
Because everyone wanted to be there.
I know. People have asked, like, we got questions about people like, oh, how much drama was there on set? There really wasn't any.
That's
It was a
amazing.
very chill set, like, the entire time, other than me running around like crazy trying to be like, but, really, other than just, like, technical issues and us just worrying about how we're going to even pull this off. Because I wrote a script for $1 million pilot with, like, at least a 10-day shooting, and we shot it in like 4 or 5 days for not that money at all.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it never really seemed to come up. Once you're in it, and once we had this right group that felt right, everybody was happy to be there every day.
They
honestly.
know the score.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
And also like when they already come with that mindset, but then they also see how much the work you are putting into it as well. It's less like I'm telling you to do something, or like I'm trying to overstep any boundaries, or I'm sorry I can't pay you, but whatever. Like, it's like they see that you care about it, and then you care about getting them to that next level, getting this project to the next level, to where you can, because you, like we said, that's our belief. You need to be paid your worth. You need to have this kind of work. So
I gotta say, man, I was very pleasantly surprised. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and I don't know why. I'm not saying that I underestimated any of you three, but it was just
roll.
What?
It's always a dice roll.
It is.
You
That's
never
fair.
know.
Yeah.
And like indie film.
Yeah.
I had, I think my greatest compliment, and this was actually based on the short, was I shared it with a buddy of mine that I work with, and he texted me like the next day and was like, man, I was so nervous to watch this because we worked together and I didn't want to have that awkward, like, yeah, I watched it conversation.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, it was good.
And
like, did you just use your high voice?
Yeah, what was that?
He went up an octave.
What was that, Brody?
Yeah.
But he was like, I can happily say I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You guys are very talented, you know, and so that's not the first time we've heard that.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
I love when you go into something with no expectations and it comes out being blowing your mind.
Yeah.
And you guys did that on a lot of different levels for me when I watched it.
Wow.
Appreciate
Thank you.
that, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm pumped to see is the pilot done?
We got another part of the thing we're paying for is post, finishing it up in post. We need to sound, After Effects, color, all that kind of thing to finish putting it together.
We haven't talked to anybody personally
I know
about doing it.
We've got to. We got to do
about
that. We got to nail
posting
that
it?
down. Yeah. We got to nail
Maybe
that
you'll
down.
find somebody from this podcast
We
who
have
gets
some
passionate.
ideas. I have some people in Knoxville I really want to hunt down and talk to, but I'll
I think you're about to just drop it.
Yeah.
Just be like,
No,
hey,
I want to
hey.
talk to them privately.
Well, there's no
But yeah,
shortage of people around here
There's
who
not.
are very,
There's very good people here.
very talented.
Mhm, yes.
And
so.
you could get it through the whole post process here in town, and it'd
Exactly.
be,
And that's
it'd turn out
something
great.
about, yeah.
The sizzle was really well done, and one of the things that I really enjoyed about it was the music, and I think that might just be my love for Firefly also.
Yep.
But I felt like it had a bit of that
Did.
vibe to it.
Did. That's from
Western,
can't get
like-
take to give credit to the artist that made that's Colm McGinnis.
Okay.
He's just a composer that I really like and found him on YouTube a few years ago, and he's fantastic. Another Irish guy, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes, can't remember. Anyway,
He likes the Irish.
I
Who,
don't know where it
Teague?
I know where it comes from. It's crazy.
He likes the Irish.
But yeah, it definitely gives the vibe that I wanted, and I'm really pleasantly surprised with how our sizzle reel turned out. We've turned that out fairly quickly, and not so many drafts. I think we got it eventually.
We got it.
It's funny. It's crafted. It's got all the right parts. You know, for me, I think the art direction was great too. I mean, you couldn't have told me you shot that here.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if it was a lot of tights or what it was like that made it just look right.
Well, like, again, huge compliments to our designers and
Absolutely.
Meg, all of them. But to touch a little bit about what you're talking about with
The mulch on the floor. Is that what you were going to say?
Oh yeah. Again, I want to go back.
I want to go back to where I had the idea to put the mulch on.
And when I said that, it's because it's a concrete floor,
Yeah.
and there was no way we could do it without something on the floor. But yeah, to touch about the talent that we have that you were talking about, that's another thing is we create this environment. We at least like to think that we create this environment that is, like I said, that has this type of infectious quality to it, to where almost how other filmmakers bring along the same people because they've built this trust. They of course like their work, and they've created that specific environment where it's all like simpatico. It all works together, right? And
The simpatico make you giggle. Simpatico got you. Yeah.
I use that word a lot. I really like it.
I watched you
it
go.
is. I've started using it a little bit more.
It's a good one.
I think I'm using it right.
You
though,
used
yeah.
it right.
Okay.
Yeah. Means like we get along.
Cool. Everything's copacetic. Yeah.
There you go.
That one's fine. That was a real word. Simpatico. No offense to our host. Simpatico's not a real word. We're not doing that. Anyways,
Okay.
continue. We're simpatico. We try to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, if what we want to do is like we find those people, and we want to continue that relationship too.
Yeah.
Dig it, man. You guys freaking done it. I think it's a rocket ship headed up, man. Does it feel like it, or does it feel stalled?
It feels weird to me. I don't know.
It's a weird limbo
It's a
right
weird
now.
feeling. Yeah.
Do you do these things where you have good days where it feels like you have a ton of momentum?
Yeah.
And then you turn around the next day and it's like, what are we doing here, boys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to kind of bounce back and forth on, like, if it's a day of nerves or if it's a day of, like, yeah, we can do this. We can absolutely do this. We can do this better than some stuff you're already watching on TV. It's a very weird. I'm a roller coaster man. So right now, yeah, limbo is a good way to put it. Where it's like, man, just kind of wait and see. Gosh, yeah. I really want it really badly, and I want it to happen. And so you're just kind of willing it every day, you know what I mean? But then we have had a pretty good response. We've had a better response. I remember on the first day, I was like, what? People actually gave us money? Like, it was crazy. But
what's the best way for people, not to get too commercially with it, but like, how can people help you? I want to help you.
Kickstarter.
Really?
Yeah,
is that the way?
That's the most direct way right
Witch
now.
and the Warden
The
on
Witch and the
Kickstarter?
Warden on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Okay, just search it.
Really? I mean, I don't know. I think, of course, money. Money is the answer. We need money. But as far as like morale goes and just kind of like keeping the coals hot in our little furnace or whatever, the social media engagement has been great.
Really?
You know, we have Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Are we on Twitter?
Twitter's
all
it's kind of like my Twitter.
I don't do Twitter.
I don't do Twitter either.
But you know, we've done some like Instagram takeovers, and you know, we've shared stuff from set, and
so that's a good way for people to
just to kind of see what we're doing.
Yeah, give you a high five, let you know that they're rooting you on.
Yep.
Yeah, and just really learn more about it, because we're we're coming to this.
If you're on the fence about donating, you're like, well, I don't know anything about it. You can figure out who we are pretty quick if you follow us on any of those. I mean, we put a lot out on it.
Yeah. I'm so pumped for you guys, man. I'm excited about the project because not only is it something that I'm interested in, I think you guys are doing a really good job of creating it and crafting it, and I would love to see it stretch beyond just a pilot.
Absolutely.
And into
3 seasons.
At least 3 seasons.
3 seasons and a spin-off. They keep leaving off the spin-off part.
Yeah. For Josh's brother?
Yeah.
The Adventures of Willie the Tavern
No,
Keep.
it's Cheers, but it happens.
Yeah, but it happens in a fantasy
in this
world. That's actually not a terrible idea.
Well, it's just
trademark. Don't copy. Wait.
No. Oh, man.
It's
the
3
opportunity
seasons of Josh's brother just packing a bag.
Yeah, just constantly
Over and
moving.
over.
And just like...
end of the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, just like just thumb out, just walking down a dirt road. Yeah.
What else, boys? What did we miss? What did I neglect
did we
to
miss anything?
mention?
I don't think we harped on it enough. Our stunt team.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow.
The fight
Every
stuff
one of
looked
them.
great.
The fight
stuff turned out great.
Is the
Yeah.
We've been Teague and I have been fighting each other for 10 years.
I fought you
Well,
more than
when you
anybody
rolled
else.
up, you guys got here first. Zach, you and Teague got here first. And when Josh stepped out of his car, I thought you guys were going to roll out here in my yard.
Yeah, we might
you,
sometimes.
You started jabbing, and he had some really good, he had some good blocks.
I actually told him.
good
I told him
moves.
this last night. Actually, I'm gonna brag on Josh a little bit. And I stress very much so for anyone that does listen that is from stunt performance. I'm medium trained kind of guy, but there's definitely far better stuntmen than me. Man, in the last few years, Josh has gotten to be really, really good. Like, just very solid. Safe is the biggest thing if you're doing stunts. Safe first. Don't worry about doing flips and crazy, set yourself on fire or something stupid. Just be safe and do the fight. Josh has gotten to be really, really great, and I'm kind of itching to fight you again. Just me and you. Just do like a short thing. Just, I don't know. I haven't kicked you in the chest in a couple years. It'd be nice.
So this is concrete out here. Is that okay for you guys to roll?
I need to warm up, but I can do it.
Can we go with safety third on this one? Is that okay?
I'm sleepy. You have to.
I've got to pee at some point. But I could.
You'll do it right
can
after
do
you
it.
slant your
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you will. Yeah, there we go. Nah.
I think
Yeah,
the big thing is, thank you to everyone who's already been there for us, showed us the support. I mean, I can't thank people enough, honestly. But and just the Kickstarter, if you wanna know more about it, join us on social media.
Share
Share us.
Mm-hmm.
Any of that.
If you can't donate, share it around. I mean, that's something I've asked for a lot. Is just there's plenty of people that maybe you can't make a big donation or anything right now. That's totally cool. Pass it around to your friends and other people that will be interested in this, and just spread the word.
There's other kind of equity.
Yeah. And also, this show is not be all and end all of what. Like I said, we wanted to do this as a career. So I mean, there's loads and loads of already somewhat developed ideas that we got.
Yeah.
And all lined up, ready. But I mean, if people want to kind of join in on what we're doing, then, like I said,
get in on the collective.
Let us know what you do.
Yeah, man.
Let us know what you do, and we'll be ready to get it going.
I'm so damn glad we got to sit and talk,
Yeah,
guys.
Dude, this is a lot of fun, man.
Was
Really?
it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
Appreciate y'all coming and hanging out.
It is cool. Your dog is adorable.
Yeah, sorry she was so loud.
It is the best thing in the world. I'm so happy.
Weird dog.
You can get me to go basically anywhere there is a dog with very little effort.
She walked up and he went, well, worth it.
Yep.
Worth it now.
Worth it now.
Worth it.
Yep.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for
See you
having us.
soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
man.
man.
You got it. South of Scruffy.